do. All right. So it says we're live. I'm going to refresh my YouTube and see if that's the case. I'm starting a little bit early. I think like 30 seconds early. Wow, what a shocker. So let's see. I'm going to hit play. Let's see if I'm there. All right, there I am on my grainy, terrible footage. So that's always good. Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to another wonderful evening of Into the Week. And this is where we kind of talk about whatever. And this is something I haven't done in a while because I've been really busy, really preoccupied with a lot of other things, such as family and obligations and responsibilities. But what do we know about any of that, right? So tonight we're going to reopen this. We're on episode 10. At least that's what I believed it was. I went back and I saw episode 9 was the last one. So the last time I checked and I do math correctly, after 9 is 10. So hopefully we're right on that. And if not, that's okay. I'm not going to worry about it. So I'm going to change something right here. I'm going to I'm going to pop out the chat. I don't know if I really need it, but why not? Why not have way too many things open at once on my computer screen? All right. So at this point, I don't know how many people are here. Right now it says 17. So hopefully that will actually go up. But if not, that's okay. So let me just do a really quick roll call here from all the people that are stopped by for the evening. Of course, Kathleen Music Lover is in the house. C. Kim, Nick Rodriguez, Floridian. Who else? I'm here. Steve Double Ott. Let's see. Peter K. Hello, sir. Double B. Keenan is here. Man, that guy's got a great collection of guns. You guys got to check his channel out. I love his videos because they're very, very calm and relaxing. Anthony Lamastro is here. Let's see who else. Daniel God is my judge. Dennis B. And I think that's it for now. So we'll kind of just keep that on the side for now. All right, evening, everybody. I hope everybody's doing well. This is our kind of going into the Thanksgiving meeting this week, which everybody hopefully will be celebrating and enjoying themselves with their families and other loved ones. And hopefully your tables will be filled with food and good feelings, I guess is the way to say it. So first off, I did do a little shooting, and this is actually for Kathleen Music Lover because she's been incessantly asking me about the sights on my Phantom. Now, these are the True Glow Tritium Pros with the orange front, which, you know, I'm not muzzling myself, but you can see there's orange there. And she kept asking me about how do these sights stack up? Do they, point of impact, point of aim? And I'm going to be honest with you, these work very nicely. This CZ performed very well for me today. As a matter of fact, I'm going to tell you that with this M Carbo kit that I threw in here, this gun is friggin' awesome. The trigger pull is really, really smooth on the take up. The reset is much improved, and the single action is much improved as well. More importantly, the sights are very good. Very, very good sights, and not a bad price for the money. I actually shot this. This is the P01 green, and actually have the True Glow Tritium Pros on there too. Holy cow, what a rocket this thing was today. And this one had the Apex trigger kit in it. And I don't know what they did or how they did it, but this gun, I've yet to find a P01 in my collection that actually shoots as good as this. This thing is just friggin' awesome right now. So awesome with that. Although I only shot 100 rounds through each gun because I had to actually reserve all the rounds for the APX RDO. And I'm going to tell you, I love the APX series. Totally sucked today with the red dot, but it's still a great gun and it worked really well. So take that for what it's worth. So my boy Razor JB is in the house. He's in and out, but listening. No, I'm not going to be talking about dipshit. Maybe a little bit. A little bit. I'm not going to lie to you. So you can tune that out for a little bit. But it's not going to be to glorify him at all. And see, Kim already asked, like, what's up with the Red Flag magazine guy? You mean the non-Red Flag guy who decided to do something stupid? We'll talk about that briefly. Dennis B is asking, will you be buying the Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0 subcompact? I was thinking about it, Dennis, but then I said no. And the reason being was because I really like the compact, and to me, there's no reason to have the subcompact. And honestly, it's not anything game-changing for the 2.0 series. And I like the compact. If I was going to buy another M&P, it would probably be the 3.6-inch barrel or slide or whatever you want to call it. But no, not the compact or subcompact. Let's see. Blah, blah, blah. I'm going to try to keep this up. P01 green is bad. I'm looking for one now with no luck, but there is always hope. It is, and once you find it, you need to buy it because they don't make a lot of them. Let's see. Kathleen's saying I had an awesome range day. I did until I turned the red dot on. That's when it went downhill right away. Actually, I posted a picture this afternoon about some of the results. And, I'm not going to blame the gun. I'm not going to even blame the red dot. I'm going to blame me because I just sucked. It was not a good day. But you got to practice. And it just goes to show you that I personally am not ready to carry that gun. Let's see. Razor saying, bag the RDO and get the zero real tight. All shots inside a quarter. Yeah, I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to do that myself. I was having some issues, man, trying to zero it in. I felt like the dot was really aiming low and to the left, but every time I adjusted it, it kept staying low and to the left. So I'm going to revisit, obviously. So I got to make sure I do better with that because it's not, it's not the day I wanted. But it is what it is. It's training. Got to keep on pushing forward with it. Let's see. Pops, thank you for the compliment. My eyebrows look great. I know. Since I have no head hair. Head hair? Hair on my head? Whatever. Let's see. Red dots are a lot different. They are. It definitely takes me some time. I mean, if you're watching channels and people start telling you about how great they are at shooting red dots and they've been shooting for a week, they're lying to you. It's just not going to be, it's not going to happen. I mean, maybe it is for them. Maybe they're that special, but I just am not that good with them. Not yet. I got to get better. Let's see. Bag it first could possibly be the dot or something else. Can't improve until you're certain what the issue is. You know what? That's a good point. It was weird because I actually had more luck today shooting with the circle dot on that 508T than just the dot. I find myself to be more accurate when I have a big blade, like a big massive thing to look at. I don't know what it is. And the groups got better, but still left and low. So I think I've got to try again. I've got to keep trying because I can't help it. I refuse to quit, and I'm going to keep wasting money on ammo till I get it right. The armsman is sort of reiterating what I said. Red dots take some getting used to. I'm not comfortable enough with them to carry one, and I'm not yet. I think it's, I guess there's a portion of it that is sort of intuitive in regards to, getting that to eye level. I did take some advice from my friend Razor in regards to, just kind of getting it up, taking the gun, keeping my eyes clear on the target, and then bringing the gun up to eye level so that red dot kind of goes right onto where I'm pointing at. So, that was the biggest problem for me today, was just trying to make sure I was doing it. Now, of course, Razor says, confidence, bigger dot, less shake, and you're mentally more at ease. And that's probably it. And if I can get any way to help with my shakes, then that's what I'm going to be doing. Both eyes open on dots. I am trying to retrain my brain that way. I was able to get it with irons fairly quickly, but it's a total different. I mean, it's different. It's just different. It's hard to explain unless you're shooting with them. I certainly am not an expert. And if you have any questions about it, don't ask me because I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Let's see. Mike M is saying he bought a CZ P10C optic ready, but don't even think I'm going to buy a dot since the iron shoots so well for me. Yeah, the P10C is a very, very good gun to shoot. It's very easy to shoot. It's it's probably one of the best on the market in regards to just how smooth that gun operates and how well it shoots. I will tell you, the APX RDO or even just a regular APX Centurion is right up there with them. One of the things I noticed on this gun was the trigger. The trigger on here was really nice today. It was actually. It was not as, heavy as people make them out to be. The reset is extremely short. I mean, it's such a nice reset. And again, I'm very impressed with the APX overall. Absolutely. But nothing can replace the P01s, in my opinion. They're just so good. All right, let's see. Raider saying, after zero, put some tape on front dots so you can't see through glass. This will help your eyes superimpose the dot. Yep. I'm trying to get all that stuff done. Like I said, I just think I really got to spend more time with it. And I don't think there's anything wrong with saying that. And I think if you're practical and you're realistic about what you're trying to accomplish, I think it takes time. And then Pops is saying the dot is never moving, never not moving. Got to learn to send it. And that's something also I noticed too, that if I shot a little bit more rapidly and when I eventually put up the video, you're going to hear the shots rattling off. I wasn't really taking a lot of time in between shots, and maybe that's a pro, maybe it's a con, but I definitely noticed that the quicker I was shooting, the more, or I should say, the less I noticed the shake of my hands. And to me, that's the biggest hang up are my hands. It's not anything else, except for maybe, me being a turd, but I'm not sure. Let's see. Kathleen saying 0 at 5 to 7 yards with a handheld 0. Shoot to your groups. That helped me. Okay, I will try. I will do my best. Daniel's asking, do people that use red dot optics always see spots? I'm not exactly sure what you're talking about there, buddy. Usually people with that astigmatism, they see like a blur, but I don't see dots. I just see one dot. But I'll tell you, I like the circled dot. I just think for me right now where I'm at, that's probably the most effective way. Because it really is. I mean, the groups may not be like a bullseye group, but if it's somebody's torso, it's going to hit him. At least I hope so. So why don't we talk a little bit just quickly, and Razor, this is where you want to probably, tune out for a few minutes. But obviously, social media was on fire today, starting last night in regards to the guy who decided to claim he was being arrested for or being whatever about the red flag laws in New York State. And, of course, there was a lot of knee-jerk reactions, everybody calling him a true patriot and a true hero. And, legal funds were started for him. And at the end of the day, that doesn't seem to be what actually occurred. Now, there are obviously two perspectives in all this. I mean, I think it's funny how people were, and this is where I feel like it's kind of gotten a little bit out of control, where the gun community demonized the police. And I'm not saying that every cop is great and really, wants you guys all to practice your 2A rights. But at the same time, the demonizing of the cops was a bit of a shock, I guess, in a way, because, as a 2A community, we tend to, have respect for police officers. And whenever we see police officers, being put in bad situations, we defend them. But all of a sudden now, I'm kind of wondering why now all of a sudden we're not willing to say maybe this was not the case after all. And I think it's kind of crazy about the idea that here we have law enforcement officers that have a tough job as it is. And I will tell you, I was never a law enforcement officer. I was a public servant on the fire service, and I worked on some other things. But at the same time, one of the things that I think many people don't realize is that when you're in that field of work, the only thing that matters to you, whether you believe this or not, is that you're going to go home at the end of the night. Like, that's the only thing that matters. So if somebody is trying to prevent that from happening so you can't get back home to your family, whatever it might be, you're going to do anything and everything you can to make sure that happens. So I'm not exactly sure why there was such this anti-police craziness. Now, of course, there are some things about it where the police officer said he heard a shot, and that's when everything kind of, mushroomed into some things. And again, we're not going to know fully what really occurred and what set that cop off. But I think at the same time, I think as you watch this guy's videos, somebody should have at least said, if he was really truly in that position, why are you on your phone drinking a large glass of whiskey and acting like a 5-year-old? I think somebody should have asked that question. If like this was true, if this was really happening to you and it was violating your constitutional rights, I think the last thing you'd want to do is be celebrating it like you're a rock star. That's just my own personal opinion. I could be 100% wrong on that, but it is what it is. I just wonder how people can justify that, and there was, some legal funds that were started for him before anybody could actually say this was right or this was wrong. And, when you start to kind of find out information, some of us are privy to some other things that some of you are not. You start to realize that this picture that was painted by this guy was not exactly what it was meant, what it was. And, we can justify anything and say anything we want, but at the end of the day, maybe we should pick our candidates better in regards to who we want to represent us as a community. And instead of, driving up this idea that this guy was being red flagged. And that's not what happened here. As a matter of fact, nothing had to do with being red flagged at all. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And I did some reading afterwards to kind of find out what do we have in the state of New York. And right now there's 130 pending cases of red flag issues. So right now there's 130. I think there's 99 that are still open, and then there's a few that have already been settled. But I think that when you hear and see things, sometimes you got to take that step back, man. Sometimes you got to be able to, use some brain power and rationalize what you're seeing. Because I can guarantee you that if any of us were put in that situation, and let's say we wanted to go and put it on social media, I think the last thing we're going to do is try to respond by drinking whiskey and going, hey, red coats, and, being drunk, because that's not going to help your cause. But again, that's my opinion. I'm sure there are going to be people after this who say, oh, you're an anti-person of this or whatever. And that's not true. I'm pro 2A. I believe we have a right, a fundamental right, a human right to be able to bear arms so we can protect ourselves and our families and everyone else around that. But I am also not going to sit here and put people on pedestals that don't represent anything that I believe in. I don't believe in domestic violence. I don't. And, we can sit here and say whatever we want to say about them, but I guarantee you domestic violence had something to do with why the cops were at that house. All right, so let's see. So, Oh, Biz is here. Yeah, and you're right, Biz. I read your comment. We should hear from the wife. Now, I will tell you, we probably won't. I think that there was a lot of things that happened that shouldn't have happened. And I think the way this guy sold it made a lot of people who are looking for a cause to pipe up. And I mean, it was constant. The amount of people saying, this is a violation, this is a violation, that's a violation. But at the end of the day, that's not what occurred. And I like now how everybody's backpedaling. I know that 180 Seconds posted a video today talking about it. And I think, I hate to say it because, everybody thinks Johnny's a clown, but Johnny's a smart guy. And I think he said it well. But, it is what it is. And then Razor, of course, is saying this. And for those of you who don't know, this is one gentleman here that I absolutely have a lot of faith in regards to a lot of different things. And let's just leave it at that. C. Kim is saying people have to remember to keep their finger off the trigger until ready to shoot. Don't be easily triggered. And you're right. I mean, we always talk about when we're carrying firearms, keep that finger off the trigger. In this case, nobody did. Everybody shot the whole town up because of what they were hearing and what they thought was going on. Let's see. So Biz is saying she vanished from all his social media accounts. And yeah, maybe that is because she wants to keep her face out of the news. Don't forget, she's got a kid with this guy. So there's a lot of issues with that as well. But, when the cops are called to the residence 2 times in a week, that's a problem. And, I think before people started branding him as a 2A martyr, I think people needed to really open their eyes and figure out what the hell was going on. And I think taking a step back, and like I said, all you have to do is look at what he was doing. If your rights are being violated, the last way you're going to be able to convince anybody that you're in the right is by acting like a juvenile, drinking and being drunk and acting stupid. That is not how you support your rights. That is not how you support your case in any platform, whether it's social media or in the court system. So, that's just my 2 cents. Razor's just a turd, but he's a really cool turd. Let's see. He's also saying, I just hope she doesn't fold or get scared based on everything. She needs to be protected. And, that's the thing also that a lot of people are not willing to say or talk about, that there is a larger issue at hand with this guy. Now, again, if he's sick, if he's got a mental issue, PTSD, whatever it might be, then maybe that's what we need to talk about is how do we help people like this? But at the same time, there's absolutely evidence that there was an investigation by police in regards to a domestic battery complaint. And he got arrested for trespassing and burglary. So it's kind of interesting how things were playing out. Probably the scenario was if this was his home, because apparently he was living in the garage apartment at the time. I could only assume that would mean that they were sharing the home and probably separated at some point, but who knows? That's me speculating a little bit. Other stuff I know, this I'm not sure about. So Nick is saying, if I'm facing down tyrants by myself, I've either made a lot of stupid decisions or a lot of purposeful actions. And I agree with that. I think it's if you're purposefully trying to stop tyranny in the country and in your state, You probably don't do that wearing a tack vest with a knife. I'm not sure. I mean, maybe that's how you guys handle business, but not me. I don't know. I think it's a ploy for you know maybe a poor me kind of situation, and this idea that, hey, this is a lot of good press for me. But we'll see how it plays out. And it's kind of funny because had he waited till January 1st, if he was not, if he was actually not, what's the word I'm looking for, processed for a violent crime or a sexual offense or any real major felony, if it was January 1st, they would have released him. They would have released him the same day with an appearance ticket to come back to court, because that's one of our new laws in January. So in order for you to get put in jail and wait for arraignment, you have to commit a violent crime or some sort of sexual offense or a major class felony. And if not, they actually release you and you get an appearance ticket. So that's new for January. So if he only would have waited 2 months, he probably would have been on the street maybe within an hour. So yeah, that's where we're at in New York State. It's good stuff, guys. All right, so let's start taking some questions here. There's 45 people in the room on a Sunday night. Scott broke down and bought a 365 XL. My favorite local shop closed, so I had to get one last gun from them. Damn, that sucks that they closed, but I hope you got a really, really good deal on that. And then C. Kim is saying the gear he was wearing was a big giveaway to his mental state. And yeah, I mean, it's like, I don't know, like you hate to judge people, and I'm not going to judge anybody. But what I am going to say is that I'm absolutely 100% disappointed on a lot of different things. First off, I'm really disappointed on people saying we're going to defend this guy without even knowing what caused this, without even knowing what his history was. And then what I'm even more, I guess, disturbed by was all this anti-police rhetoric and about how they had this vehicle and that vehicle. Well, no duh. Where have you guys been? Living under a rock? We know that the police departments have been militarizing for years. This is not new. This has been going on for probably 10 to 12 years already, where they're getting things on auctions, where these auctions are giving them dirt cheap equipment that the military used. And so now all of a sudden everybody's like, oh, how could they have this or that? Well, they've been massing that for years. But again, at the same time, I mean, if you've never seen a SWAT team doing work, I hate to tell you guys, they don't go in with like bubble wrap or anything. They go in with heavy duty equipment because guess what? At the end of the night, they want to go home. So they're not going to go in with the lightest materials ever. They're going in heavy handed to do what needs to be done. And that's the bottom line of it all. So we can argue that, well, they shouldn't have had this and they shouldn't have had that. But you know what, guys? That's been going on for years. And I know of no SWAT team that's going to bring in like Nerf guns and bubble wrap to somehow get a guy who may already have had a violent past. It's just not going to happen. It's not practical. It's not realistic. Razor makes a great point. Following procedures, guys. Everybody has SOPs, standard operating procedures, or standard operating policies, so whatever they're looking at, this is what they're going to do. This is the protocol they're going to follow, because like any of us, we're going to be more prepared in the hopes that we don't have to use what we have. And yeah, I mean, give them shiny toys. Who doesn't want to play with them? I know I do. Biz is saying red flag laws are coming to a state near everybody, and they are. I don't think that's any shocker. I think it's kind of interesting, again, how people get so upset, but, when it doesn't hit them, but when it hit us, you didn't hear anybody say anything. I didn't see any big, groups saying, oh, God, these are terrible. Well, the exception of some of the gun groups, but, some of the social media circles, you didn't hear 2 words about it. Steve L. is saying we're a society of overreaction on all sides to a situation without knowledge. And you're right, because, and again, I think we'd have to say that it has a lot to do with social media, because everything is so instantaneous without any real investigation on the information. It's all conjecture and hearsay. So everybody believes everybody. It's kind of frightening when you think about it. Yeah, and FEMA has a camp waiting for you with all the body bags and coffins that are on trains. You're absolutely right. Let's see. Big Al saying, my hometown in pursuit of an armed felon shoots at least 100 rounds before they say stop police. I support it. I don't know. I just don't understand, how he turned up so strange about this whole thing. Jesus, Tundra Tacticals here. Wow, man. It has been a long time. Thanks for joining us. Let's see. The Armsman is saying, I think what stirred up things up further was the posting from large YouTube channels to reach out. That caused everyone to overreact without facts. And that was weird too. Like, I mean, first off, I understand the fact that you want to be able to support somebody who's having issues, who is potentially being or having their rights violated. I understand that concept, but what did you think you were going to accomplish there at that point? You're going to make a situation go from bad to worse at 100 miles per hour. To me, that makes no sense, but, I guess people do what they got to do. Big Al saying cops don't want to go out on calls because they will be sued. I'll give you a good hint about, why I'm kind of crazy about this right now in regards to the perception of police. I mean, one of the local police departments here, not a big department. It's a city department, but it's a small city. But funny enough, it's one of the most dangerous cities in New York. And they just had a huge budget crisis. So they wound up laying off 19 police officers and 14 firemen from the city. And this, again, is one of the most violent cities in New York State. So now they're doing with less. And I think it's funny because everybody will always demonize the police until they need them. And then when they can't get them, guess what? Oh, we wish we had them. I know, bald is beautiful, sir. Let's see. Police are over-militarized and most jurisdictions overuse SWAT. Many police treat their jurisdictions like foreign countries. I guess it depends on the jurisdiction you're at. I would never tell you that every cop is good, just like I would never tell you every doctor is good, every lawyer is good. But at the same time, why have these police departments become so over-militarized? Could it be something with the ability for them to purchase these types of items without anybody asking questions? I think that has a lot to do with that, man. Let's see. Oh, no problem, man. I think I'm over 11 now. Way to be late to the party, sir. I mean, it only took me 4.5 goddamn years to do it, but it's all good. No, it was not Troy, New York, Bizza. It's actually not really like 20 minutes from my house. So it's my neck of the woods here down in the lower Hudson or the mid Hudson Valley area. It's actually Newburgh, New York. Cops don't want to take a slingshot to a gunfight. And again, like I said, I mean, how do you know what you're entering? I mean, everybody wants to pretend that a police officer knows every situation that's going to come their way. So, I mean, that would be like you guys not wanting to carry your gun because you didn't want to be, ever put in a position where you might be considered, dangerous. And in this case, the police, they have a right to protect themselves. And do some of them go overboard? Hell yes. And there's plenty of cases that we've seen that. But in this circumstance, you have to know what they were walking into. And in this case, it wasn't like there was just this guy out of nowhere. This was somebody they had already contacted previously about an issue of domestic violence. And I'll tell you right now, again, for those of you in law enforcement or in, fire service, I'm telling you now for a fact, 90% of the domestic calls we go on usually end with somebody putting somebody's life in danger. It could be the person in the house or it could be the people responding. So that's just something to kind of maybe think about. Ray's saying every time I went out, I took everything I could carry and the kitchen sink. And you're absolutely right. And then you just hope you never have to use any of it. And I think that's what you really need to think about in these circumstances, Better to be over-prepared than under-prepared, I guess. Let's see. So let's see. So what do you guys want to talk about? What else do you guys want to talk about? I'm trying to see if there's anything else that I've been dabbling with slightly in regards to the gun world. So aside from just having some good shooting today and some bad shooting, I got to say that the spring kits in both guns were fantastic. If you guys own CZs and you've been wanting to kind of do a little bit better on the trigger pulls and resets and everything like that, there are plenty of options out there. I mean, you can definitely hit up, Cajun Gun Works. But I mean, for the $25 I spent on the M Carbo kit, the thing was fantastic. And also that Apex kit, which is a lot pricier. I mean, it's just ridiculously how good this gun shot today. The P01 green was just ridiculous. So I think in the future I will try to get myself some more of those CZ kits from Apex and throw them in there because they're really good, really, really good stuff. Let's see. Never did answer my question about the safes. I didn't see your question. I don't know. Restate that question, Big Al. I didn't see it. Let's see. Steve L said he bought a 226 Elite. Nice. SOA yesterday. That's pretty cool. I've been looking at a 229 Legion, but it's just god awful expensive. There's no way. Let's see. If anybody has any information for Decoy 345 Kyle, please chime in what insurance he should get for carry insurance. Oh, combo versus electronic. I guess it's depending on you. There are obviously some pros to getting the digital keypad or whatever you want to call it, as opposed to the old, turn, dial. I think obviously speed for access is good. However, I would tell you that if something electronically goes bad, you're screwed. so that's about it. I hope nothing ever happens. But I'll be honest with you, I don't really have like a top of the line $3,000 safe. So I'm pretty sure I could get through this safe if I had to. And if I ever did, I would absolutely get through it. So, I mean, it really is dependent on you. I think you should do whatever makes you happier. I think that's the best answer I have for you. Let's see. Daniel saying, I went to parents' house, had Thanksgiving dinner early. 4 out of 12 people were packing. And guess what? Nobody got shot. Oh my God, they didn't? You mean the guns didn't shoot at each other? That's shocking. Let's see. Peter K, 1776. Are you and Big J thinking invading new YouTubers to the chat? So Peter K, I'm going to try to help you with this one. It says, are you and Big J thinking of inviting new YouTubers to the chat? I'm going to say right now, probably not. I think for now, it's just going to be us two. It's sort of how everything started in the first place. And, you don't want to invite people necessarily on and then try to work out a whole new chemistry. It's a lot tougher than you think. Although I would not really call what we do here on YouTube as being tough. I love how people make it like, oh my God, it's such hard work. No, it's not. No, it's not. And if you call this hard work, you've never had a day of hard work in your life, in my opinion. But what I would say to you is it's very difficult to establish a rapport with people. I mean, Big Johnson and I have been doing the chats now for well over 3 years. KS came in shortly after we started, and unfortunately KS has stepped away. So now it's just us two. And I think for now, we're going to keep it that way. I think it's a good flow. I think, two people make it go very quickly, especially for an hour, much, much more quick than just one, which as you can see, this thing is just completely sputtering. Let's see. Oh, Peter K saying he's driving. So stop texting and driving, damn it. Let's see. So Steve L is saying his local gun shop has a lot of SIG closeouts. So you can mention that shop if you like, so people could hit it up if they're close to it. Armsman is saying, funny. Many YouTubers call this hard work. And you know what they do? I'm not exactly sure. Not exactly sure why. Because it's really not. I mean, yeah, it takes some time, but it's not hard. I don't sit here and sweat and, have shortness of breath. I don't call this hard work. Let's see. Mike, I actually used to live in Florida and probably should never have come back. But right now, unfortunately, with my kids in middle school, transitioning to high school at some point, it's probably not in the future. And I have another 15 years before I can retire. So, you make do with what you got. And I'm going to keep on fighting the fight up here in a way that makes sense because I'm not losing my gun rights any further. So, yes, at some point when I retire, I'm out of the state. I'm out of here. How do you compare the TrueGlow to the Trijicon HD? That's a tough question. If I look at the sights, I've got to tell you that, man, these Tritium Pros, Like, I'm not a big fan of TFX Pros. I have a set, but I don't really like them. It's only one gun that I have them on. And the Tritium Pros I find to be really good. I think the quality of the build is excellent. I think they're built very solidly. The orange in the front is very big compared to the TFX Pros. Is it as good as a Trijicon? Time will tell. I mean, they're not as bright, I don't think, but they're fairly bright, but they're just not as bright. If that makes sense also. But I think for the money, it's a no-brainer for me. I mean, would this replace other sights for me? No, probably not. But if I want to get cheap sights for guns that don't necessarily have a very good market for sights, then I would pick these absolutely. Let's see. Mike is saying he was from Poughkeepsie. Best thing he ever did was move to North Carolina. Yep. Plan on going somewhere at some point. Captain Shark, do you think the value of the Steyr M9A1s are going to go down once the A2s start to circulate or stay fairly consistent? I think so. I think it's like anything else. You know, why would you pay a premium for a gun that's no longer the new gun? So yeah, I think eventually they're going to go down. I'm feeling you, Daniel. I got the same issues. Fire rating is important. That is true. So if you have a house fire, you want to make sure your stuff is protected. MD Polo, hello, sir. Ah, thanks, Big Al. Nick is saying, this is my favorite chat of the week. This might sound like a backhanded compliment, but I like that the audience is small and there's a lot more audience engagement. You know, it's funny you saying that, Nick, because right now there's 55 people here, and on our Wednesday night chats, we get to close to 100. So maybe double. So, you know, I guess it's good. I mean, 55 people is good. I think that the bigger thing, though, is the fact that when you have one person who can scroll through the comments, it's much, much easier to be able to just rattle them off instead of two guys talking. So I think sometimes that's probably partially the cause. All right. So if you live near Grand Rapids, Michigan, Steve Ellis saying LeMasters, Hudson, Goldsmith, and Gunsmith. Holy crap, that's a long name. On Arms List. Okay, so check them out, guys. Big Al, 58. Yeah, 58 now. Woohoo! Nice. Let's see. Semper Fi Knives. I didn't understand how people thought a guy with a tag vest tapping the camera cheers with a glass full of booze might warrant some thought before posting all the call to action stuff. You know, I don't know. I mean, don't we all do that, right? When we're calling, you know, we're calling to arms for our violation of rights. Don't we all get drunk and act like that? I guess. I don't know. I mean, what does that really say about us? Black Emmons just bought a CZS 75P01 Omega with threaded barrel last week. My 76-year-old eyes don't pick up the steel front sight very well. Options for fiber optic and the ease of installation. So again, what I would say to you is, as you can see, I have these on the non-Omega. This is the green version variant, whatever you want to call it. But I put the True Glow Tritium Pros on here with the orange front. These are perfect, sir. I would recommend those. Oh, well, look at this, guys. Big Al, according to him, we're beating ABC News. But we just lost, I think, 3 people, so we're now at 55. Damn it. Yeah, vest with empty mag pouches. Oh, Peter K., I'm telling you, man. I just sold something online, and I made just a crazy amount of money on a gun that I sold. I'm not telling you what it is because you guys are going to bash me, but the offer was ridiculous. So if you guys are wanting to sell handguns right now, it is absolutely a seller's market. There are people paying crazy amounts for guns that are in really good shape. So, you know, I've got some money to burn right now. Let's see. For those with safes or not, take a picture of your gun, both sides, make a PowerPoint and add accessories, magazine parts, etc. Of course, serial numbers, make a log and keep it. Yep, that's true, because if they do confiscate, you want to make sure you get everything back. At least that's what I've done. Because the whole red flag laws are scary. I mean, if you've read anything on red flag laws and not just listened to other people rant about them, they're freaking scary. You know, I was reading the New York flag laws, and it's basically anybody out there can fill out the paperwork. They have to pay a fee. It's like $210 or $215 or something like that. And then you can actually ask for a waiver of the fee. You then bring the paperwork filled out to the court, and that day the judge will determine whether or not it is a valid complaint. And then they will have the police go to your house and they will confiscate all your weapons. And then within 10 days, there has to be another court appearance where the judge will make a final determination as to whether or not you're a threat to yourself or others and confiscate your weapons for up to a year. After a year, there has to be some more paperwork and another court hearing to determine whether or not it's going to be longer than a year. And if there is no follow-up, then after a year, it's gone, it's done. Your records are sealed, so the courts can't ever see that it happened. So it's very frightening to really look into this and say that this isn't a problem, because it is absolutely 100% a problem. Suffolk County right now was actually proactively trying to stop people from getting guns by claiming they were a threat to themselves or others. So these were people who didn't even own guns that they were trying to use the red flag law against. So it's absolutely scary. And it is something that, I think everyone, if it's happening in your state, you need to keep at it and try to fight it, because it is terrible. That is no, I did not. Let's see. Let's see. He was saying you should do a review on Accurate 8 sites by Night Fusion. Would like an everyday's point of view. I would, but I don't want to have to buy them. They're expensive, man. I actually just got a set of night vision sights for my soon-to-be arriving, hopefully, knock on wood, P10C. I hate the ones that I have on my Smith & Wesson 2.0. They suck. That front sight is terrible. I've actually thought about contacting them and telling them to send me a new one. I'll send the old one back because it just sucks. It has sucked from day one, actually. Yeah, I did know that. I actually did know that. I just newly knew that. I didn't know that before, but I did know that. Yes. Thank you, sir. This is a very rare shirt. There's only 3 of them in existence, and I own all 3 of them. Yep. I guess that's why fire trucks are yellow. Yes, that's true. A lot of fire trucks are not red anymore. They make them that like that fluorescent lime color, because it shows up better on the eyes. So that's kind of interesting. They've even talked about replacing amber lights on fire trucks because they don't show up well. Absolutely, Scott. You're absolutely true. Nick is saying, I know a guy who got red flagged here in Maryland. He needs proof of ownership to get his guns back. All of his grandfather's guns are gone forever. That is ridiculous. And, that's why I'm a little upset with this whole thing, because this guy tried to use that as his reasoning for being a dickhead. And unfortunately, that isn't exactly what happened. And now, of course, you have legitimate people who are absolutely being robbed of their constitutional rights. And, this doesn't do anything for that. This puts a black eye on all of us. So that's why I hate it. Claymore saying he got into a debate with a local gun shop I used about red flag laws not being good. They actually wanted to know why I did not agree with them, because they did not think it was a bad idea. I don't know how you can justify that. I know that most common sense people, most decent people, do not want people's rights to be violated. I think there's also the discussion of what do you do with people who suffer from mental health issues and all that other stuff. But, you've got to always ask yourself, do you limit the rights of the majority to help or prevent the minority from getting their hands on firearms? And to me, it's never been about keeping our rights protected. I mean, this is a bigger picture. If you guys come to New York, you're going to see what I'm talking about, because there are more rights for criminal elements in New York State than there are for the good, honest, hardworking people of New York State. And it's only getting worse, not getting better. The night vision fusion sights that I have on the M&P. The rears are great. The front is terrible. The little orange ring is so tiny, and it does not have a very large window. So I don't know if it was, and I got that sight when it first came out, and maybe they've changed it a little bit, but they are the worst sights I have on any gun. But I've had night visions on my old P10, and they're great. And as a matter of fact, the new one that I just ordered are fantastic, but this M&P one sucks. MD is saying yellow like the Hellcats front sight. Yep, that's exactly it. I am still looking at the HKP 30s, but I'm looking at the SKS or SK, but it's actually got the safety on it, which kind of sucks, but I'm never going to use it, so I probably could be fine with it. Baltimore's fire trucks used to be yellow in the 80s. Big Al saying every wife or girlfriend you kick out will red flag you with no consequences. And that's the thing too. Like if you go on these websites where they describe what the law is, there's nowhere written what happens if somebody falsely accuses you of something and then your rights are violated. And that's where it's also concerning because then anybody and everybody could just make shit up. And then next thing you know it, you're red flagged and you've done nothing wrong. You've never violated law. You've never threatened anybody. You don't have any ill will towards anyone. But again, like you said, this is a perfect way to abuse and create big messes for a lot of different people. And then, of course, Daniel's saying just don't kick your wife and girlfriend out or ever let them meet. Yeah, because that could be a problem. No. Nick is saying it's important for families to get help for people who need it, therapy or meds. And if they are committed, no need to worry about them getting a gun. And that's true. You know, I think the problem right now is that the larger discussion at hand is the mental health situation in America. We're seeing, you know, I think it's honest to say that we're seeing a mental health crisis, not only for adults, but also for kids. And, you know, nobody has come up with a solid answer on how to solve them. Nothing is being funded correctly. You don't have enough places that can treat people. And then the places that do are friggin' nightmares. It's a shame. It really is. And I think until we really look at this as a crisis on the level of, like, let's say, opioid addiction and all that other stuff, we're never going to have any serious answers to any of these problems. And Scott, you are correct, because it was a knee-jerk decision to do this. That's why. Oh, and Harry's in. So Harry and I were talking earlier today. So if you guys are interested in buying any holster from Harry, go to his website. And if you put in the code 1776, you're going to get something off. I don't know what it is. I think it's 10%. I think it's 10% off. But I'll lie to you and say it's 50% off so that all of you use my code and then I can make some money off of this. But no, seriously, Harry makes great stuff. You know, I got some of his holsters that I still have and still love. He's got some pretty cool stuff. And if you want, go take a look at Harry's, and it's 1776, and you get a slight discount for what you purchase. All right. So that's from me to you. All right, let's see. Jim Jenkins is saying the AKG Discord army has arrived. Please pardon the spam. I'm not exactly sure what this is. So, you know, if you could fill me in, that'd be great, Jim. So we can determine if you have to be banned. What happened to 4-1? What the hell does that mean? Uh-oh, here we go. I have no idea what that means. Let's see. Does he have Beretta M9 holsters? I don't know. Harry, do you have Beretta M9? And then Screaming Skull is also giving you some advice. It should be 17%. Wink, wink. Listen, be happy with 10%. If they use your code, you only get half of the holster. Yeah, you get a couple of clips and half Kydex. You're absolutely right. Let's see. All right, that's great. I know. Big Johnson's probably rolling around right now. No, it's my code. So yeah, I think it's pretty funny. Not gonna lie. Yes, sir. I was told there would be a flood. It seems I was lied to. I don't know what these guys are talking about. So I'm going to let's see. No, I don't want to do that. Talking about 4-1. I don't know who this is. You guys have to tell me who this is. I'm interested now. 4-1 had info that would lead to the arrest of. Kathleen's saying they're trolls. Maybe they are. We'll give them a minute or two to figure out who they are. And if they don't bring any good wills or any good intentions, then yes, we shall demote them. But they are talking about something here. It says 4-1 was a cop. I'm not exactly sure what that is. So I guess we're going to have to, figure that out. All right. So Harry, you are officially a moderator. So if you want to throw people out, Harry, feel free to. I think that's always a good way. Let's see who else wants to be. Let's make Kathleen music lover. You're also now going to be helping with that. So apparently these folks are talking about another cop who went missing. Now again, I don't know if that's true. I have not heard about that. So we'll find out. So if you guys want to start banning, ban away. Reddit saying you try to have a good chat and people come out. Hey, it is what it is, right? More power to them. Apparently they have more to do on their Sundays than most of us. But I do appreciate people showing up, first off. And it looks like Daniel, God is my judge, I think in a way is asking to become a moderator. So let me see where you're at here, Daniel. All right, so you're also now a moderator. So there we go. Hammer time, baby. Nick wants unchecked power. All right, Nick, you're in too. Boom. So we're going to totally abuse our power. We are going full abuse. So this is just to make sure things stay on track here. So again, do what you got to do. I'm not going to worry about it. And then, of course, Jim Jenkins apparently is probably one of those guys who should be blocked. So bye-bye, Jim. Have a good day, sir. So I'm going to stick with the 3 that I have right now, or maybe there's 4. So we'll see how this plays out. And then we'll just keep going. So that's pretty cool. I get a feeling that Tundra Tactical brought these people over. As soon as he showed up, this is when it all went downhill. Isn't that weird? That son of a bitch. I'm going to get him back. So what would we like to talk? You know what? This is all about you guys, man. What do you want to talk about? Let's see. Hey, not sure if anyone knows, but on the CZLEMIL website, which would be law enforcement military website, they've put up a few special law enforcement military only items like hats, decals, and patches. You know what? That's cool. But I'm not even sure if they extend any discounts on firearms anymore to LEOs or anything like that. They used to, and I think they stopped, which kind of sucks. And for those of you who have the power of the wrench, please use it sparingly on those who actually enjoy the chat. So we'll see how that plays out. And we can see that Kathleen is starting to time out people. Listen, I just go out and ban them. That's funny. True Glow will not fit the P07. I don't think it does. I think they only have them for CZ75 models. So you would be right, sir. Big Al on that. You are absolutely right. So we'll take some, last several minute questions. So we got about 7 minutes left of the chat, a little under 7 minutes. So if you guys have any questions or any comments or anything, please let us know. I think MD Polo is saying it perfectly when he says with a blue wrench comes great responsibility. So I agree, it does. And I guess Harry is going to ban Big Johnson if he shows up. Wow, there's a lot of hatred here. That's funny. So Reddit's saying that CZ isn't all that. I'm going to say that I disagree with that because I was actually thinking about this today, that after shooting the Phantom and the P01 today for a little bit, you really begin to really appreciate what they do gun-wise. I know a lot of people say the P01s are a little snappy. I never have felt that. I don't think that. I think they're just such controllable handguns. And I think when it comes to hammer-fired guns, I really do think they're probably the tops. I've had Berettas and, an H&K and all these other guns, but the CZs to me just are just fantastic. They're hard to fail. They're hard to break down. I mean, yeah, there's some inherent problems with the pins and things like that. But I think overall they have always been very reliable for me, and I will stick to them because, again, I'm slightly biased because I love them. Let's see. What was this one? Keenan saying no way. I agree. This thing, I mean, this thing was just great. I mean, the beaver tail works well. It's just such a sweet shooting firearm. I don't know how anybody can really enjoy them. Those are stickers. A lot of companies send stickers, so I always just put them there instead of throwing them out. Josh had problems with it, but okay, 1776. Like I said, I've never had problems. Never had problems with any of my CZs. Only the P10. Let's see. Screaming Skull is saying in a couple of months from now I will own 3 CZs. Well, I hope so. What are you getting there, buddy? I'd be interested to know. Brian is saying Cajunized P01 Omega is now my favorite gun. Yeah, it is pretty sweet. I don't have anything Cajunized. I just I think I've stuck with the M Carbo kits and with the Apex kit. Those do me well. So Screaming Skull is going to get a P10S. That's pretty cool. No. All right, so let's see. Black Emmons is saying the only issue with my Omega other than the front side is the decocker. I find it bites my right thumb sometimes, depending on how I grip. I haven't found that on, but I do. It's funny because I actually prefer the older decocker with the non-Omega series. I actually like that position much better than the new one, because even if you ride your thumb high, you're still not going to be able to activate that decocker at all, because your thumb can ride right underneath it, even with a really high grip. So I've never had any issues with that. Mike M is saying just got a P01 and a P10C 3 days ago. Today was the first day shooting them, and wow, I'm in love. Yeah, I mean they're good, solid guns. They're built solidly. They work ergonomically. They're some of the best. It's hard to find a gun that feels as good in the hands, especially on the P01 series, whether it's a compact or a PCR or a P01 Omega or non-Omega. They just feel really good in the hand for most people. Now, obviously, if you have big, enormous hands, it may not. But for me, I've never had that problem. Mike M is correct. The stock sights on the P01s are terrible. They are absolutely terrible. That's the first thing that I usually change in them. And that's why I went with the Tritium Pros, because they're cheap, affordable, I should say, but they're built very well. So that's a recommendation that I will absolutely stick by. So Scott's going to be saving money for a PSA AKV9. Those are pretty cool, man. I do like those, but again, totally illegal here. So Young Guns is asking the question of the night. I'm actually going to show this to you. So there's the Masada. You notice it's missing its cover, and there's no optic on it. So I had an interesting event happen at the range today with this gun. So I was actually going to shoot it with the Beretta, and I wound up putting about 5 rounds through the gun, and then guess what happened? The plate and the optic flew right off and hit me square in the forehead. And it's not because of anything that the gun did. It's the fact that the screws I was actually using, I actually thought they were far enough in here to, seal themselves and lock themselves in place. And that was not the case. So I got 5 rounds through it. The thing flew off. And I said, okay, I guess I shouldn't be using that today because I didn't have the right screws. So let that be a lesson to all of you. Put the right screws in, or you'll be wearing a Holosun 507C on your forehead. Steve-O is saying, do you think aftermarket grips make the PCR or P01 recoil more than with the stock rubber grips? I haven't found that. I mean, as a matter of fact, I shot these today with the lock grips on here. I'll be honest with you. I think the more bite you get on that on the hands, the better you're going to be. So you just get a rougher texture with the aftermarket grips. So I think for me, it works better than actually doesn't. Yeah, aside from what happened today, the Masada has been a very, very dependable gun. However, I wish, and a side of me wishes, I would have gotten a Glock 45 MOS. Yeah, I think that's been in for a while there, sir. So it looks like we lost a lot of the weird people. So that's good. Appreciate all you guys helping me with that. And we're still at 68. So either they're still watching and they just can't leave comments or whatever. Let's see. Is the 507C okay? Is your head the equivalent? Yeah, I don't think it's equivalent to that. It actually fell on a concrete floor and it left a little bit of a nick by the base, but it wasn't anything, tremendously bad with it. I did see some of these tests they did. I don't know, man. I'm still very skeptical in regards to that. I mean, I don't plan on dropping it. And even if I did, I mean, any site that's made, if you give it to me and give me an aluminum baseball bat, I guarantee you I'm going to destroy it. But I was absolutely, I could not believe it happened, man. I was just glad it hit me in the forehead as opposed to hitting outside and going into somebody else's lane or something like that and then being shot. So yeah, that was my bad. But stuff happens. All right, guys. So that is an hour. So, oh, that is not nice. So anyway, that's it. That's a wrap, guys. So we spent an hour today. Hopefully we talked about some good things and hopefully people will leave some good comments. We'll see. We'll see how it plays out. But I hope you guys have a great week. We got Thanksgiving coming. Hopefully you spend some time with your family and friends and you eat a lot and you're all happy and safe. I just can't thank you all enough for showing up on a Sunday night. Again, we'll try to keep these moving and keep them relevant, and we'll go from there. So I hope you guys had a great time. Hopefully you leave some good comments afterwards, and I hope you guys all, stay safe out there. Practice your Second Amendment rights as much as you can and do it the right way. And then hopefully you guys will live in harmony, so to speak. So what do I have coming up really quick here? I've got Holster Month coming. So I've got a lot of cool things coming out, some new entries this year, which is kind of sweet because it's very hard to get people to send you things, especially when they don't even know who you are. But I do have some really cool things. I just need to get some things here by the damn county in time. So I hope to get some stuff out before Black Friday. If not, it unfortunately will have to be after Black Friday, but there are some really cool things that I have never seen before or have ever done before. And I've actually been wearing some of them right now, not right now, but in the past week or so. So we got Holster Month coming, which should be pretty cool. Also, don't forget 1776 code at Harry's Holsters. Check them out. Good stuff. And I don't know, man. I guess that's about it. Oh, and I've got to do a follow-up with the RDO, which I still love this gun, and I'm not going to give up on the whole red dot thing, but we'll see. So again, guys, have a great night. Stay safe. And as always, everyone, freedom is never free.